some breaking news. After creating much controversy, the channel Sony has confirmed that the show Pehredaar Piya Ki will go off air from this week itself. So from this week, the show in fact was supposed to have a different time slot of 10:30 p.m. on the directive of the Broadcasting Content Complaints Council. But the channel has decided that they're better off to scrap the show altogether. So that's the big news that has coming in. This is a very controversial show. The news in fact has been confirmed by team of Sony Entertainment Television. The makers maintain, however, that the show will come back with a new season, with a new look. In fact, it was launched in July itself. Pehredaar Piya Ki is a story of two royal families. The story has been set up in the state of Rajasthan. It shows just how an 18-year-old princess had to marry a 9-year-old boy in order to protect him. In the show, there was an episode of their wedding night between the 18-year-old princess and her 9-year-old husband that had triggered the entire controversy. Well, all of that now seems to be in the past. The show is going to be off air. That's a decision that has been taken by Sony Entertainment. They have already made an announcement that they will not be showcasing the show any longer. Amit Tyagi joins us for more on this. Amit, this is big news and a big decision. What exactly led to this? Because the last that one had heard is that the show is going to be shown, but at a different time, at a later, time at 10:30.
Yes, Avantika, Sony has just issued a press statement, an official statement that Pehredaar Piya Ki will be finally scrapped. Actually, this week, last night, the episode was to air on the new slot, that's 10:30 slot, but suddenly the decision was taken. The episode was ready. In fact, it's online on Sony Live, that's Sony's digital platform. But then the makers and the channel took the call that the show is not suitable and it will be creative injustice that the show, if aired on 10:30, will lose its audience. So overnight the decision was taken that finally the show will be scrapped, and there was no airing of the episode last night on the news slot. So from today there will be no Pehredaar Piya Ki slot airing henceforth.
Now that Sony has decided to pull the plug off on this controversial show, any reactions from the cast and crew? Because I remember, Amit, when we broke this news earlier on, when we got the makers of the serial to speak to us, they completely defended the script, the storyline of this show.
Yes, I just spoke to the makers of the show, and they are like disappointed, but they are actually they are saying that they might come up with a season 2. They're working on a new concept, and so you might see a new season of the show with a new storyline. And the cast, of course, is dejected. The lead actress of the show, Tejaswi, was very, very excited that she'll be shooting some more interesting sequence. In fact, a leap was planned in October, where the guy was supposed to grow up, and the love story, the actual story, would have been unfolded at that time. So that's not happening, so the actors are disheartened. But as they say, some things are not made to be happen, and I think that's the case with Pehredaar Piya Ki. In just 1.5 months, the show garnered so much negative publicity, or you must say so much, if the show was in news, that it was difficult for the channel to even sustain it further.
But despite the bizarre storyline of an 18-year-old marrying a 9-year-old, whatever the context may be, whatever, the reasons may be, the cast and crew stood firmly behind the show's concept. Do they still feel that perhaps they had made a mistake? Perhaps they need to go back to the drawing board? Perhaps they need to relook at, the storyline and come up with a modern, more realistic, story to the show?
Well, Avantika, the actors, none of them they felt that this was the case. The actress was comparing the show with Game of Thrones, but the Game of Thrones had a milieu, the different context altogether. Anyway, the makers, they have their own justification.
Did you say they were drawing comparisons with the Game of Thrones?
Yes, they were drawing that, whatever is shown. But that's also it's not to be compared at all.
Okay.
Because the milieu is different, the setup is different. But anyways, whatever happened for good, because the show was drawing so much criticism for its aggressive content, and finally it comes to an end.
All right. So the controversial show, Pehredaar Piya Ki, is off air. It will not be shown from now on.